Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November 23rd, 2021. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, I'll tell you, I didn't intend to make the news of the day the way it became the news of the day.
You were the news of the day.
Oh, my God. But, last night I did write the story that Manny Diaz is expecting to be back, and that a decision had been made on an administrative level that they were going to do the AD search, which they are. They're doing a national AD search, and that the new AD will make any decisions going forward on Manny Diaz, his future, the new football coach, potentially, any of those things. And man, people went crazy. And, we did a 2-hour CaneSport Right Now show about it. You can see that on our YouTube channel if you want. I think the headline initially might have given some people the wrong impression that you're urging. I changed the headline. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty straightforward story. I just think there's so many raw emotions. To everybody that put the love notes on Twitter, thank you. I love you guys back. No lie. But it was a pretty simple, straightforward story. I agree it's fluid. I agree it could change. No argument. But as of right now, they're going to let the new AD make the decision. The university administration has decided that they don't want to dictate that move and who the head football coach is going to be before they hire the athletic director. And makes perfect sense to me, Matt. After having a night to digest it all, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes your sources get you in trouble because I think what people don't understand, like, you're a professional journalist. You've done this for the Herald, for the National, you've done this for a million years. And what some people don't understand is there are fan sites. There's nothing wrong with fan sites. This is not a fan site. This is not Gary's opinion. This is what sources he's been cultivating for, 3 decades.
If I have an opinion, I put opinion.
Right. This is what
in the headline.
So this is what sources for 3 decades are telling Gary. It's not his fault. It's not CaneSport's fault that this is the news of the day. And it doesn't mean Manny Diaz won't get fired. I guess if Manny Diaz is fired in a week by the new athletic director, everyone's going to say, Gary was wrong. But no, Gary wasn't. Gary's not saying he's not going to get fired. People are totally misconstruing this story. And I think maybe I was a little too harsh on Gary last night on the CaneSport Now segment because I was confused too because it's not Gary's fault that I was confused or that any of you were confused by the story. It's because there's these two, like I said yesterday, schizophrenic heads butting each other almost at where one side's telling Manny you can expect to be back, and the other side's saying, well, the new athletic director will really make the final decision. And it's confusing to even say it. So imagine how Gary had to try to write it, because he's trying to write it as the facts of the matter, which it is. And he knows people are going to blame him if Manny's fired in a week or after the Duke game or something,
Yeah, it's happened before.
He's not going to not report it. He's been doing this for too many years. He's a professional journalist. That's what you do. You hear the news, you report the news. You check with multiple sources. They're all saying the same thing. You report it. And whether people want to retaliate against you personally for reporting the news, I don't understand that. But I mean, that's my say on the matter. You reported the news accurately, and it is what it is. And I still think there needs to be a change. You still think there needs to be a change. This was not an opinion article. You're not saying your opinion is Manny Diaz should stay and everything's going to be great. Fans just need to understand this is not a fan site. We're journalists.
We are a fan site at times.
We're a fan site, but we're professional journalists.
But we are professional journalists, correct?
On a
fan,
I think that's helping run things on a fan site. Yeah,
that's what makes it a good site.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, if you want to read BS, if you want to read people posting that there's going to be a press conference a big announcement today because they want to get your clicks and they want to get your attention, that's fine. That works for some people. But we try to keep it straight and report what's really happening. And even when it looks like we're wrong, I would say 99% of the time for the last 30 years, we've been right. And, yeah, sometimes things change. Sometimes stories change. I mean, that's part of the business. And we accept that. We go out on the limb sometimes. This one was a toxic story. People want Manny Diaz fired. We obviously get it. That doesn't mean that they're going to do it. It doesn't mean they have somebody they're happy with. That doesn't mean they're happy with the terms. That doesn't mean that their offer was acceptable to a candidate. There's a million scenarios that could happen in searches like this, in situations like this. We will keep reporting. We will try to find out everything. We will try to give you guys the information. Just try not to, pull out the assault weapons on us.
I mean, don't make it personal. That's the point. Like people are like blaming. People are blaming us for the situation at Miami. Like I don't even understand where why that happens.
How could that happen? Right.
They don't want to. It's almost like they don't want to hear the news. It's like we're in North Korea.
I mean,
and like we're like the outcast broadcasters, and we're not following the state line of what has to be reported. And like we're outcasts because of it, Like
I mean, how many times do I have to say? If I had 5 minutes, I would have Alonso and Mario in the building. Yeah. I've been saying it for 3 years. Like, how many times do I have to say that to be on the record?
People are just upset. Like people are upset. It's an emotional subject for them. Being a fan, like I talked about yesterday, it's not logical. It's emotional. It's with your heart, and people are talking with their hearts, and they don't know who to blame because they don't even know. You're not going to reveal your sources, obviously. I mean, you could pretty much make an educated guess who's telling Mario the information from the athletic department. But, like, who are you going to blame that's a tangible person right now, other than the people who give you the news you don't like? So, it doesn't make any sense. But again, it's emotional.
I saw somebody post on Twitter that Gary supports Manny's defense. Gary thinks Manny's defense is great. I don't know when I've ever said that. I mean, I don't know where that came from. I mean, people just make stuff up. And like, I don't get it. Like, why would anybody?
Or they don't give context.
Yeah,
or they don't give context. Somebody posted like, Matt says Manny can win 10 games next year. That's like, I did say that, but the context was new defensive coordinator. They need to bring Highsmith into the building. They need to probably replace a couple of coaches, bring in key transfers. Like there's a lot that goes along with that.
Right.
And my point was they have such great young talent that with or without Manny was what I said, they could win 10 games. And this person just takes, Matt said Manny could win 10 games next year. He's crazy.
Dude, they're going to finish the season winning 5 of 6 with a Florida State game, the only loss that could have gone either way. What if they went 6 out of 6 the second half of the season? Like, just do the math.
If that 4th and 14 doesn't hit, are fans okay with Manny staying? I think they will. Honestly, as crazy as it sounds, I could see the change in the tenor after those 2 wins over top 20 teams. I could see the vitriol was already dissipating, and then it reappeared tenfold after the FSU loss because it was FSU. Yeah, but I mean, if that 4th and 14 pass is off the mark, or if DeCorey Couch is where we were supposed to be, are fans all of a sudden okay because of one play that, hey, everything's great now? Like, this is what is mind-boggling to me, is Miami is not good enough right now to just beat a team. Like, it comes down to a last drive over and over and over again. They've had, is it 6 4-point or less games, or 7? I can't remember now out of their 10, probably 6. But, like, they're not good enough to just put teams away, even the Georgia Techs of the world. So, like, even if you beat Florida State, like, people should not have been okay with barely beating all these teams. It's like I've said, it's a mirage. It's red flags, blah, 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 blah. I can only say it for so long. That's why I keep saying it's fairly obvious to me there needs to be a change. But again, people can't comprehend when I say that. And then I also say, well, they could still win 10 games next year regardless of who the coach is, which I've laid out previously. You can have it both ways. I mean, that can happen both ways. And that's why fans shouldn't be, like, freaking out. Like, if this team had no young talent, I would tell you. And I would say, listen, you shouldn't go to the games next year. Wait 2 or 3 years,
Then nobody is going to the games next year.
You're not going to be happy.
Based on what I read last night, nobody's going. Everyone's canceling season tickets.
But there's hope. There's really hope, no matter who the head coach is. As long as if it's Manny, he's got to make, obviously, a new coordinator who's really good, and the other changes we talked about. And if it's not Manny, they got to bring in one of the 2 guys we've talked about who can really make a difference, and not bring in, another Al Golden / Manny Diaz type guy who's not going to be a difference maker. Obviously Manny's not a difference maker right now. So like those are the two ways it can go. There is a path forward for both. The path forward with a new coach, I think, is a lot brighter than keeping the status quo with a few changes. I think that's obvious. But the people at Miami know way more than you and I, right, Gary? They're the board of trustees, Manny Diaz Sr. They know way more than we do. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
I think they know they don't. And I think that's why they want to punt. I think they want to hire a great athletic director, and they want to let that athletic director do their job. I think Julio Frank, Rudy Fernandez, Jose Echeverria, if they're being honest with themselves, and the trustees that are involved in stuff, if they're being honest with themselves, they don't know what the heck they're doing when it comes to big-time athletics and big-time college football.
Listen, you're going to be shocked, but I disagree with you. I think the big problem is they think they know what they're doing. That's the biggest problem.
They do, Matt. I think that's why they're punting. I really do.
They're not punting if they agreed to let somebody tell Manny, we think you're in pretty good shape right now. You keep doing what you're doing. Like, that's not punting. That's stupidity. Why the rush to judgment on Manny? Like, somebody obviously told Jen Strawley or whoever, give Manny some assurances. We think it'll be okay, but, we still got to wait for the AD. Like, there's no need to even do that. Like, why even go there? This just shows that they think they have it figured out somehow in some aspect. Or even if there's a dichotomy of two different camps, both camps seem to think they know what they're doing. And it's a big problem because if they admitted, we don't know what we're doing, let's wait for an AD to come in who knows what he's doing. This story would not have been a story because it wouldn't have happened, right?
There might be an assumption that a new AD is not walking in the door and firing people. Like that he will take the time to evaluate that. I'm just guessing. Okay. There might be that assumption. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We don't know what's going to happen. But the bottom line is there's nobody on campus that knows what a big time athletic program looks like or is supposed to look like. And they are being smart if they are looking to hire a professional that does, and then let that person do their job. Like, how can anybody argue with that? And the results might not be as bloody as what everybody wants right this minute. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I can't predict it, quite frankly. But you can't argue with professional common sense of wanting to hire a competent athletic director and then let that person do their job and make the big decisions. Because if I'm a big-time athletic director, I'm not taking a job where I don't get to make the big decisions. Nobody's doing that. It's like, say, you're the CEO of a company, but you don't get to make a decision. Well, that's baloney. There's nobody doing that. Sorry to anybody that didn't like the story or didn't like what was being said.
Apologize for writing the story.
I wholeheartedly apologize. But
stop reporting the news, Gary. You're screwing up everyone's day.
But when I heard that Manny was being told that he was coming back and that inside the athletic department, that was the assumption, I checked on it. And what I found out is that the new athletic director is going to be tasked with making it.
And fans don't know this, but you sat on that for 8 hours just to make double sure. Like,
really, a couple days. Really, a couple days.
Yeah, because you hear that, you're like, that can't be true, and you just keep.
It was really a couple days
checking, and then finally you're like, it's true. Like, this many people have told me, like, it's true. This is nuts, but you got to write it. I mean, what are you going to do?
I alluded to it on the message boards, and and then I'm getting calls about Lane Kiffin, and obviously my radar's been up on Mario, and I'm like, this is a total crap show. Like, seriously, I got to find out what's going on here, and that's when I started making calls, and that's when I learned that the new athletic director is going to make the call, or at least that's the plan on Monday. Maybe when everybody sees all the uproar, that changes on Tuesday. Like, who knows? Like, who knows?
And that's the problem. That's why you get blamed for everything, Gary. Because
we do the best we can.
You open the hornet's nest, the hornets come out, and then they change, and then everything changes direction sometimes too. So
we'll see. We'll see what happens here. All right. That's on the website this morning. If you missed it, you can catch up on that. A couple other stories on the website this morning. We've got our Canes in the NFL Week 11 update. You can see what all the pro Canes did in their games this week. We've got our weekly tracking the commits feature. Rhett Lashley spoke yesterday, and it was actually kind of funny, Matt, because as part of the conversation, I asked Rhett, Mike Harley needs 5 more catches to break the career.
That was hilarious.
The career record.
I've never heard a coach give the answer he gave you. That was unbelievable.
It was great. Like
he's so honest. That's what I told you. He gets himself in trouble when he's so honest.
Yeah, I love Rhett Lashley. He's awesome.
Oh my God.
But yeah, they're going to be feeding Mike Harley Saturday.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, oh yeah, we got that covered. Don't worry. Wink, wink.
You're going to see Mike Harley catch 5 footballs.
Listen, Duke's going to quadruple cover Mike Harley now.
Yeah, well, they got to get Rambo some. What's Rambo?
Duke is so bad. Rambo's going to get a record too. Like
Rambo's going to walk out of there with some record. And you know what?
The season yard record and the season receptions record. Rambo probably.
And there aren't 2 more deserving individuals of records than Rambo and Harley. Harley for what he's done here for over 4 years, and Rambo for what he's done for this team this year. If Charleston Rambo had not been a Miami Hurricane this year, this would not be 6 or 7 win team. Like, can you imagine this, Matt? Seriously, they're going to finish 7-5. They're going to beat Duke. Can you imagine if Rambo wasn't on the team? This would have been probably a 4 or 5 win team. I mean, it's astonishing to say it.
If they didn't have if they didn't have De'Ara King, if they didn't have Jose Borregales, they've had these transfers who have come in and made a huge difference every year. The amazing thing with Rambo, like, how did Oklahoma let this guy not use him correctly, A, last year, and then B, like, not even recognize his talent and just let him get away? It's insane to me that they could not figure out they were using this guy completely wrong on these little quick hitters instead of just letting this guy outrun people down the sidelines. I mean, in addition to
think about the talent they have at Oklahoma, that this guy was discardable.
It's unbelievable. It's shocking to me that they just didn't understand what they had. Obviously,
I mean, they brought that new quarterback in this year. He's been lighting it up. I mean,
yeah, but it's like Rambo the year before was amazing as the Robin to the Batman, you know, like you and I are. And then when he was the
Robin
Batman,
to your Superman,
sorry.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when Rambo's supposed to be the guy a year ago, like, he just completely like lost it because they, like I said, they were using him just totally the wrong way on just quick hitters. He's not a guy that breaks tackles. He's a guy that runs by people in space. And credit to Rhett Lashley. And you know, honestly, if you don't want to give credit to Manny Diaz, fine. But I mean, they went out and got this guy and recognized what he could do and used him from the game 1. You know, in the way he should be used. Like, kudos to Miami, because when's the last time you could say Miami coaches did something that Oklahoma coaches couldn't figure out? Like, they did. They did that. You know, you got to give them credit for that.
Right? You know who recruited him? You know who recruited Rambo?
To Oklahoma?
No, to here.
Who recruited him? De'Ara King.
De'Ara King,
yeah. Amazing. Yeah, I know, but they still figured out how to use him correctly.
Yeah. No, I mean, amazing. You know, the whole thing's amazing. All right, so I think those guys are going to set records Saturday. You got that to look forward to. Don't cheer for Miami to lose the game. They're not losing to Duke, okay? And I've already reported it's not going to make a difference anyway. So you know, we'll see what happens. And
if you think if you don't think that if Miami loses to a Duke team that hasn't won an ACC game, that they're going to just instantly fire Manny Diaz, then you are smoking the sweet whatever. Because there's no way, man. They're not going to lose to Duke. No. First of all, Duke is beyond bad. Like, you guys have no idea how bad this defense is. I honestly think that Miami could pass 700 yards in this game. I think how many yards they've given up an average of, I think it was 580 yards over the last 3 games. They've given up 45 or more points the last 5 games, maybe. I don't have it in front of me. You know, I'm not a memory champion, but you know, but one of my neighbors actually is a memory champion. Gary, you might like this. There's a guy, Nelson Dulles, who's a professor at UM. He's actually my neighbor, and he recited pi to, I think, over 1,000 digits. He's like a world memory champion.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe he should be the athletic director.
There you go.
He'll never forget anything that anyone's ever done wrong, and he'll have it fixed.
He'll remember everything Manny's done wrong in 3 years.
He'll just be to me like, here's all the things. He'll tick off 1,000 things Manny did wrong, and they'll be like, okay, we got to replace him. Crazy. Can you imagine though? I mean, if you're that guy's son and you do something wrong, like when you're 4 years old, he's never going to forget it.
You're recite everything you've done your whole life. Yep.
The rest of your life.
Yeah. I do that with my kids. Remember when you were 2?
No, but this guy really remembers. He's written books, by the way. I mean, really amazing.
Yeah, I have a son that used to run headfirst into walls when he used to get mad as a little kid. And I remind him of it all the time. I haven't forgotten.
Well, I've had mine do that, but not on mine have done that, but not on purpose.
Almost gave me a damn heart attack. Like you used to like get mad and run head first into the wall. Craziness. Anyway,
that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, the things you go through, but people can relate when you have kids. All right, we also have an update on Kamari Rogers, the commitment who visited this past weekend. You can catch up on all the details of his weekend in Miami. It looks like he's pretty solid into this recruiting class.
No. Yes and no, because he's visiting Mississippi State officially. So anybody who ever takes an official right before signing day, it's hard to say they're solid. You're right. I mean, he says
hopefully I think he's covering his bases in case.
Yeah, look, he wants to be at Miami. There's no doubt.
I mean, they've been all over social media for months.
Right. You're not wrong that I would say he's pretty solid, but just the fact I do want to just point out.
All right. Yeah, that's fair.
Taking an official visit to Mississippi State in the state program. So,
yeah.
We'll see.
All right. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We'll see if there's any toxic breaking news today on this AD coach situation. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. I'm going to go see if there's any more trouble I can stir up, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great day.